Weird sciencey facts that boggle my mind. Y'all really seemed to like the video about the horniest animal in the ocean last week. Now we're gonna talk about the best hump in the ocean. You get a whale, and you get a whale. Everybody gets humpback whales. In the narwhal video, a bunch of y'all requested that I do one on those 6-ton aquatic cats, you know, orcas. While I was reading up about the moist murder pandas, I found out that there's some really interesting shit about humpback whales that I didn't know. So that's what this video is about now. We all know a little bit about humpback whales. They're big, 45 to 56 feet in length and up to 40 metric tons, which is 88,000 pounds. For some perspective on how big that is, that's the size of a semi-truck in both length and weight. Your typical semi-trailer is about 50 feet long and loaded, weighs 80,000 pounds. So yeah, humpback whales are just blubbery semi-trucks swimming through the ocean and like launching themselves out of the water and shit, which kind of puts a whole new spin on Round the World with the Rubber Duck. Whew, that's a niche reference within a niche. I may have pushed the niche reference a little too far on that one. So sorry guys if no one gets that. That's my bad. Anyway, they achieve this impressive size by eating some of the smallest animals in the ocean called krill, which are like sea monkeys. As impressive as their size and the way that they achieve that size is, it's not really noteworthy in the world of whales. Humpback whale might be big, but it is medium size as far as whales go. I believe it's the 5th or 6th largest whale, and the blue whale, the biggest whale in the ocean, is literally twice as big. So this video is less about their impressive, but not necessarily outstanding girth, and more about the impressive way that they use that girth to keep Free Willy from getting any dinner. Orcas are dicks. Big dicks, like 13,000 pounds and 25 feet long dicks. Don't let their furry costume fool you. Just because they dressed up like a panda does not mean that they don't have the brain and mentality of a house cat the size of a school bus. They'll punt penguins and seals like 60 feet in the air just for the fun of it. They'll rock icebergs back and forth till a seal or a penguin falls off like playground bullies picking on a chubby kid stuck on the teeter-totter. They're just assholes. They're also very intelligent and they're team-oriented. They work together and hunt in packs like wolves or lions. They are the street gang of the sea. They run that shit. And because they travel in numbers, they will attack things that are bigger than them, and this includes humpback whales. However, fucking with a humpback whale when you're an orca is just generally not a good decision. Kind of like when that group of guys that are trying to cause trouble want to go pick a fight with the big guy who's just quiet talking to his friends at the bar. He might seem mild-mannered and maybe there's 10 of you, but he's still twice your size and you're gonna have a bad time. Now, it's rare that orcas will pick on a pod of humpback whales because, you know, if you've ever seen Chris Christopherson drive a semi-truck, you know you don't mess with a convoy. Sorry, did it again. But if they're young and dumb enough, they will go after a single humpback whale, and a single humpback whale has been seen beating off 10 orcas for hours non-stop and come out victorious. That is some Jackie Chan shit right there. And that's pretty damn impressive in and of itself, but this gets way more interesting because humpback whales, who are pretty much exclusively a really passive, gentle giant, they do a lot more than just swat away pesky killer whales who are dumb enough to harass them. They listen for killer whales, and then when they hear them, they actively swim over to them and wreck their day. The killer whales get really noisy when they're about to attack something, and sound travels way better and way further underwater than it does through the air, so they can hear them from miles and miles away. So this isn't something like they're, you know, in eye shot and they're afraid that the killer whales might swim over and attack them too and they're just actively defending themselves. They will go miles and miles out of their way to crash their party. When they get there, their goal is not just to slap around some killer whales. They're there to do something that no other animal has ever been observed doing. They actively protect whatever the killer whales are trying to attack. They'll gently lift them up out of the water, push them out of the way, try to lift them up onto icebergs. They'll swim right in between Happy Feet and Free Willy and be like, you want him? You gotta go through me. What you gonna do? They are the real life A-team of the ocean. You have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, you may be able to hire the Hoyle team. Just picture a humpback whale with a mohawk and gold chains running around in a van. Well, this behavior is just unprecedented among wild animals, and it kind of baffles scientists. Because despite how big and bad humpback whales are, killer whales are still very dangerous animals. So going way out of your way to put yourself in an altercation with a very dangerous animal doesn't make a whole lot of sense, evolutionarily speaking. For a long time, one of the primary theories is that this was just an instinctual response. Killer whales are going to attack a humpback whale, it's usually going to go after the calves because they're a lot smaller and a much easier target. So the theory is that when the whales heard the noise of killer whales attacking, they evolved to associate that sound with needing to protect their young, and they respond by going to confront that sound. However, there's some holes in this theory. Once you show up and there's no humpback whale calf in danger, sticking around to try to actively save a penguin doesn't make a whole lot of sense. This theory recently got a much bigger hole blown in it when a humpback whale tried protecting a human diver from a tiger shark. Now, this might be a big surprise, but tiger sharks don't make orca noises, so there's none of that auditory input to stimulate this, protection response. Also, tiger sharks are generally not really a concern for a humpback whale, so it's not like it was defending it from another common predator that it deals with. So these holes in the evolutionary response theory have led to a different theory. Humpback whales might just be a lot smarter than we ever thought. And there's actually some pretty solid circumstantial scientific evidence to support this. First off, whales and dolphins in general are just incredibly intelligent. How intelligent is really, really hard to quantify. Obviously, giving a whale an IQ test probably isn't going to be a real effective solution, and there's a number of challenges involved trying to give an underwater CAT scan to a semi-truck-sized animal to study brain activity. However, physical aspects of the brain that we associate with intelligence are a good way to at least get an idea of how intelligent an animal might be. One of those physical aspects is cerebral cortex surface area, and both whales and dolphins have a larger cerebral cortex area than humans. Another physical attribute is neurons in the cerebral cortex, and scientists who are studying the minke whale brain found that they have about 12.8 billion of those neurons. For comparison, our closest relatives, primates, have about 1 billion, and we have about 16 billion. There's a very good chance that humpback whales have a similar number of cerebral cortex neurons as humans do, and that means that it's plausible that whales may be as intelligent as humans, and that intelligence may give them the ability to understand and process empathy and then make decisions based on that empathy. And the fact that whales might be a real life, real big Hero 6, well, that is pretty mind-boggling.